This is Jeff Smith with Hitting Guru 3D. Typically, we will order your hardware and install the software prior to your receiving it. And you have instructions and getting started videos to help you with that if we have installed it for you. If you have your own hardware, your own computer, either Mac or PC, and you're installing the software for the first time, then follow these instructions to help you get started with ease. Once you've installed the software from our website and gone through and followed the directions from the installer and made sure all of the various pieces of the software installed correctly, then you will have a desktop icon that looks like this. You want to double click on that and it will launch this screen. Now if you're first starting up, it's going to ask you to create a new coach. You want to use an email that only you have access to, and you will basically create a password for that. Once you have started up the software at least one time, always exit from the software instead of logging out of the software. That way, when you come back and double click on the R icon, the Hitting Guru 3D icon on your desktop, it will launch this screen and you don't have to actually log in again. This is our default login. You don't want to use that. That's really for testing purposes. Here I've selected my email that already has my password integrated with it, and I can go ahead and just log in as myself. If you have multiple coaches, you would create the new coach accounts here. Remember that when a coach takes videos and records them for a player, they are under that coach's account inside the Hitting Guru Academy. Okay, so make sure that you're collecting videos, recording player, and analyzing player swings and videos inside of each coach that you want that coach to have access to the player's videos inside the Hitting Guru Academy. So now you've selected the email that you've set up a Hitting Guru Academy account, which is free by the way, and you click on login, and it's going to take you there. Now you can either select anonymous right or anonymous left. You can also, once you've set up your player profiles, you can select from those here on the left hand side as well. This is very critical that you select, depending upon if you have a player who already has a profile, make sure you select that player's profile. That way all of the swings and all the swing statistics that you capture that day or that session will be recorded and uploaded into that player's profile in the Hitting Guru Academy. If you're simply doing an anonymous session, then you want to make sure you select anonymous right for right-handed hitters, anonymous left for left-handed hitters. If you switch between right and left during your session, you got to come back into the software to the select player area and select either right or left so that the system will recognize that a swing has actually occurred when it does. All right, I'm going to go ahead and select anonymous right. I do not have the camera set up, so I'm going to select from library, and I'll select here. This is actually a left-handed swing, but I'm going to go ahead and leave that up there. So now what I want to do is show you the settings here. And so when you're setting up, you want to be sure that you have the following settings, particularly if you're setting up the software on your own. I select that I would submit that you should use emotion plus audio detection mode as your default. This swing mode sound threshold will be set to 0.6. You can actually modify this according to the sounds that your system is hearing. What it's looking for is it's looking for a motion that looks like a baseball or softball swing, either right-handed or left-handed. When the hands cross the front plane of the hip, that basically signifies the software to say that a swing has occurred, and I'm going to capture that swing and all the metrics associated with it. The audio portion of this software basically listens for the sound of the bat hitting the ball, either the softball or the baseball, and it helps the software to determine what frame of the video is closest to the moment of impact. Okay, that's why you set it on motion plus audio. If you're just taking dry swings, it doesn't really matter. You can leave it on motion plus audio. But if you are going to be hitting the ball, you should have it set on motion plus audio. I would leave this swing mode sound threshold at 0.6 if you've got a particularly noisy area, if you're in a cage or an academy and there's a lot of noise around. If you're having trouble with the audio detection helping you to identify that moment of impact, you might want to play around with this. We typically set this waiting time at key positions during replay at 0 seconds. That speeds along the replay. If you have it during a session, you can always come down here and using the video controls, stop, start, move it from one moment to the next using the controls. If you're in the US, just leave this set on US metrics, so it'll be feet and inches. The record video path, this is where all of the screencasts that you're recording for to be uploaded to your player profiles will be, if you store them on your local machine, they'll be stored in this folder on your desktop. Any recorded lessons will also be stored in this folder on your desktop. Save swing by default. This means that every swing that your players take, each time they take a swing, will show up over here in the right-hand side in their library with the newest swings at the top and the oldest ones at the bottom. That way you can decide which of the ones you actually want to save, and either to the player's profile on your local machine. If you're going to save something and upload it to the Academy, you need to actually do a screencast up here and just follow the directions on that screen. Maximum swings and list threshold, basically we typically set this on 50. If you set it for something less than that, then whatever number of swings that have been taken in succession, if it reaches this threshold limit, it's going to ask you, do you want to save or delete some swings? The reason why it's doing that is to help to control the amount of memory or RAM that your machine is using. So the lower the threshold, the faster that you're going to clear that RAM and help your system remain speedy. Okay, some other areas that you can always start the tutorial that shows you what all these buttons are and everything. If you want to reset the preferences to default, you can click this. But once you have this set, if you don't log out of the system, it's going to stay on these settings each time. Now, each coach has to set these settings for themselves. So if you're switching between coaches, just know that if you've not set up these threshold or these settings inside the system for your profile, then they're going to be on the default settings, and I would recommend against that. I'd recommend using what we just set up. For record lesson, you want to make sure that you select the correct audio source. Its default is Hitting Guru because we do not know what your audio sources are, but you can actually use, this is the microphone on my webcam. You can also record video using the Kinect camera. It has a microphone on it as well, and it works very well. Just depends on where you are when you're recording lessons and how close you are to the Kinect camera. You want to make sure you save anything when you do that. I'm going to come back out of here. I'm going to go into short replay. Show short replay is clicked here, so that means on every swing, after every swing, the short replay is going to occur. The waiting time before the automatic replay, I've set this at 0 seconds, so it happens immediately. Remember, you've always got the video controls down here, so if you're in the replay mode, then you can, and something replays too quickly, you can come down here and reset it, move it back and forward on the timeline into any moment of the swing. Automatic replay speed, I've got it set at 75%, so that again is a sort of a typical setting. Again, you can control that with your video controls down here. Ready for next capture sound. So once you have captured a swing, it's recorded. If it's set to replay, then when that replay is done and it's ready to capture another swing, it's going to make a sound. Make sure you have the sound turned up on your TV or your laptop or whatever you're using so that you can hear that sound if you want to use that to help you determine when it's time to take the next swing. If you show markers during short replay, so any automatic markers that you set up over here would show up during the automatic replay, and pause at phases during short replay, you can set that either on or off. If you don't set that to pause, I've got it set at, remember, it basically almost no delay at the pauses, but all of that can be controlled again down here on the video controls. If you want to take a manual swing, somebody just isn't getting captured, or maybe you're capturing a swing, maybe you want to capture someone throwing, or a pop time on a catcher, or any motion, you can use manual mode. This is the countdown duration before the swing. So how many seconds are actually counted down before the swing occurs, before the capture occurs. The maximum swing duration, so how much time are you going to capture. I would keep it typically at 5 seconds and at 3 seconds, as you see here. Play sound during countdown, so while you're counting down, the 5 seconds you're counting down before the capture occurs, it's going to beep. And then play sound when ready to swing. So as soon as the capture has occurred and you're ready to capture another swing, then it's going to play a sound and let you know it's ready to go. Remember, each time you're logging out, you're exiting the application, you just come down here to click to go to exit. Instead of logging out, then go ahead and just exit the application. That way, when you're ready to log back in, it's simple to log in. You don't have to remember your password or any of that. Okay. If you want to change coaches, you can simply do that up here in the top left.